You are now listening to the No Shame Podcast with Jay and Titus. And we're on No Shame Media, No Shame Podcast, episode 45, where we talk about the 3 Ps we focus on every single day for our businesses, relationships, etc. And the 3 Ps are passion, positivity, and purpose. That's what the words that we live by on the daily. And that's what we focus on the daily, which helps us in all aspects of our life. We have revamped this podcast to focus on those things. And thank you so much for joining us here on the No Shame Podcast. My name is Jay. That's Titus. And we are ready to get started. First of all, Titus, congratulations on the Patriots, my dude. Huge Patriots fan. And the mic is still off.
Sorry, bro. Let's throw that back.
All right, we'll start over.
Old habits die hard, bro.
Yeah, we'll start over. Crack it up. All right, welcome to the No Shame Podcast, episode number 45. We are up to 45, Titus. Can you believe it?
It's crazy, man. It's quick.
It's been an amazing journey. We've done a revamp. Thank you for those who are listening. And thank you for the newcomers who are just finding us. We really appreciate you tuning in and listening to us. Here we talk about the 3 Ps that we follow in our lives. And we hope to inspire everyone that listens to us and hopes that you can, put these 3 Ps into your life somehow. And these 3 Ps are passion, positivity, and purpose, not in that order. So if you have all those 3 things, more power to you. If you're working on one of those, cool. We're continually striving to do better with ourselves and everything that we do. Business, relationships, marriage, everything. So with those 3 Ps, we believe that your life can be fantastic. But anyways, let's get started with today's episode. First off, we have a huge Patriots fan here. If you guys know, Titus is a major Patriots fan. So congratulations on the win there, buddy.
I know you say congratulations like I was on the team, yeah. Like I was part of the staff. Like I'm working for Matt Patricia running defensive plays. But yes, I've been a fan, and Tom Brady is the GOAT, and you guys can throw a little bit of haterade as much as you want, or you can love us because we're on our way to getting, hopefully, ring number 6.
Number 6, dude. He has to have 2 hands now to fit all of his rings.
That's what I'm saying, man.
GOAT for show.
Greatest of all time for those of you with the non-sports reference.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got so many Super Bowl appearances. I believe this is number 8.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing.
We've lost 3 of them. 2 to the Giants. Oh, no, we only lost 2. Yeah, with 2 to the Giants. But we're going back to Philly, which would be, I believe, 2004, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
And we beat them 24-20, I believe. Oh, it's exciting, man. It's really exciting.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, tell us what your favorite teams are. Tell us what your favorite NFL moments were this past season. I haven't been up on any type of NFL this season. You already know, but I think next season it's time to revamp that watching of the NFL and football. So,
I only started tuning in from like week maybe 15.
There you go. We got other things to do, like life, finding ourselves.
But, when it comes to January football, you got to pay attention.
There you go. So we have a pretty amazing show for you today. I found this post on my Instagram feed. There's a person that I follow, or a company, I think it's called Secrets to Success. If you guys follow them, yeah, go ahead. They're awesome. They have all these cool memes and all about motivation and entrepreneurship and all this stuff that, we here at the No Shame Media, No Shame Podcast talk about all the time. But this is about how to have a happier life. Everyone wants to have a happier life, right? I mean,
Right.
it is conducive to having the great life is to be happy. And this post, which came on my feed, gives you the 5 rules to live a happier life. So let me go through them. Rule number 1, love yourself. Rule number 2, do good. Rule number 3, always forgive. Rule number 4, harm no one. And rule number 5, be positive. I love it. I love it. So we're going to break down each rule. But first, Titus, I want to ask you, when you think about a happy life, what do you see yourself doing at the moment? Like what constitutes you being or having a happy life?
I believe when we look at a happy life, and maybe me personally, it's community, having a core virtuoso set of friends and family that you can share times with. Um, that is one of the huge driving factors in my personal happiness. I can't speak for everybody else, but having that set of virtuoso type of friends, not just acquaintances, but really deep connections of like spiritual brotherhood, sisterhood, uh, is at the root of everything, along with family. Like those go synonymously, hand in hand, um, and also maybe having drive, drive to do more, be of service to others, trying to live this abundant life. And the more we help other people, the more I feel fulfilled. And that's just, again, just a personal reference towards what I feel constitutes, creates a happy life.
Amazing. He used all the keywords in that one, community, service, I mean just drive, man, all those things. I would totally 1000% agree with that statement, and that falls deep within my idea of having happy life too. I'd also like to add, I think this piggybacks off the drive. I'd also like to add progress. I
Mm.
always need to be progressing. I always need to be learning. I always need to be finding something new to do to be better. I think for me personally, when I feel the progress, when I see things changing for the better, it makes me happy as a person, like as an individual. And if I'm happy as an individual, I can then affect positively everyone around me. And, they always say you can't make any other person happy unless you're not happy yourself. So your
Mm.
happy cup has to be filled with flowing happy water coming down the sides, and then you can make other people happy. If you're not happy, then a lot of people can pick up on that stuff, and it's not hard to see the non what do you call it, the body cues of just you being fake happy, right? And you can feel energy. People can feel energy. So
Well, intuitively, we know.
right. Mm-hmm.
I mean, instinctually, you can not necessarily even read body language, but just looking at a person's facial expression, and just, yeah,
Yes.
that energy that they give off, you can tell that they're either truly in depth feeling this positive life or kind of pulling a wool over the eyes.
Right.
But
Yeah.
change, man, change is in line with progress, right? And change is the only constant in life. And that is not cliche
Mm-hmm.
for sure. So with progress comes change. And you're attributing a lot to growth and learning and developing. And that can be gas in the fuel tank as well.
For sure. Awesome. Yeah, when you said that whole, fake happiness and putting the blind over your eyes and you can feel it intuitively just reminded me of this book that I think we're both consuming right now, Stealing
Mm.
Fire, Embodied Cognition. The chapter is phenomenal. We're gonna put some stuff on this podcast that deals with that book because it is just amazing. But we'll get back to that later. And we got a pretty awesome guest coming up, so stay tuned for that in the future. I am like
Mm,
ecstatic to be talking to our guest
me
coming
too.
up. Yeah, it's gonna be an amazing conversation, and I apologize if it's 2 or 3 hours long, but stick with
Uh,
it because it's just amazing.
It's called the teaser.
Yeah, this is the teaser. But back to the subject matter. Five rules of happiness. Let's break down number one. So number one, love yourself. Um, I don't know how simple that phrase can ever be, but to some people, that's hard to do. It's really, really hard to do. I've been there myself, many times, in times of doubt and fear. It's hard to, show love when, you don't love yourself. Well, sometimes it's easy because you kind of wish that, you want that and you can empathize with the other person if you feel like they're down or sad or whatever. But to love yourself means so much more. It's
Mm,
you have to invest in the actual time and energy to really feel that love. For me, it's like a physiological feeling. Like I could feel the my body feeling really good. The hairs on my body like standing up when I receive
mm.
that love or when I feel like, damn, you know, pat on the back, Jay, you did a fucking good job. You just feel this type of electric energy for me personally, like this electric energy from top to bottom. And when you feel that, and I think this is why it's number one, because once you have number one, everything else, number two, three, four, five, will follow.
Right.
I think so. So whoever made this up, kudos to you because he probably really thought about this when I really look into it. And let me remind you, when we do our shows, we really don't have anything planned. So we just came up with this on the fly right before the show, and everything's pretty organic. So I just want to remind the
Literally
audience.
seconds.
Yeah, literally seconds. So I want to remind the audience about that. So you're getting our natural, organic reactions to the things that we see or the things that we read or hear or experience in our own personal lives. So just want to put that out there. But yeah, like for me personally, loving yourself is the number one thing to do. It affects everything else around you. It affects everyone else around you and everything that you do, in all your life. And I think a lot of people are, having tough times with that. So Titus, let me ask you, when you love yourself, what type of techniques or strategies do you do when you get to that point of like, oh man, I kind of don't feel myself right now.
Well, for somebody that's been struggling with anxiety and depression for a very long time, let me tell you that these moments do come up. So I'm going to revert back to a quick little 5 second rule from Mel Robbins. Yeah, I knew you'd like that one. This
Mm-hmm.
guy turned me on to that book. So, uh, you know, I can definitely empathize with anyone who does not feel like they shower themselves with love. Um, and whether it's a neurological type of disorder or you have some kind of psychological disorder, um, I can fully 1000% feel what you're going through right now. But we go back to this 5 second rule, and it's really counting down five, four, three, two, one, go. And after the go, it's to shift or change something that you're doing. So whether it's to go do some push-ups or run outside and crank out some pull-ups, do something physical, something to alter your mind state and shift your focus onto what's more positive, essentially. But that's something that continually works. I like journaling.
Yeah.
So there's something new that I've picked up recently. Well, maybe not super recently, but journaling helps. So to get some of your frustrations and some of those, let's say, Uji feelings out onto pen to pad, uh, really it just opens up for clarity, and it opens up your headspace so that you can get into your heart space, if that makes sense. Um, and then counting all your blessings. Now that's really cliche, but really, we take a lot of things for granted. Walking, waking up every morning, being able to use both arms, both legs. And for those of you who can't, I apologize, but for the majority of the population, we take all these little things for granted. So knowing that it can all be taken away in an instant, in the blink of an eye, a lot of this can change. You can be at your best friend's wedding, or one of your best friend's wedding, and you can lose a knee.
True story.
True story, and not be able to walk for like 4 months.
Right.
um, and then you really count your blessings, right?
Yeah.
Like, look, I wake up literally every day, and I thank the universe, I thank God that I can walk, I can breathe, and that I'm up today. Literally right after I make my bed.
Mm.
So I get up in the morning, I make the bed, and I say, thank you.
Yep.
Breathing, walking, being able to use my hands, and being able to go and brush my teeth. It's simple. And those are some steps for me that have worked. There's other deeper things, like we're going to get to some of that in the forgiveness piece later, but um, focusing on yourself from time to time and truly diving in and loving yourself for who you are, all the challenges you've been through, all the peaks, all the valleys. That's where the real gold is, right?
Yep. Love it, man. I love it. I love you. I love myself. It's all gravy. That's awesome. We're gonna keep it moving along. What a awesome response, and thank you for sharing your story, man. It's so powerful to share. You know, your personal story of anxiety and depression and being vulnerable like that. It takes a lot of strength, and that's another piece of loving yourself right there. You know, Titus
Mm.
just literally did it. You know, and shared his story, and because he loves himself and because he knows that it's a part of who he is, and we all have that. We all have our stories, and you know, if you can do that, then more power to you, and that means you love
Jay,
yourself.
I feel like there's growth every time I share this little testimony. You know, the more statistically, in a room of 100 people, there's between 20 and 30 people that are affected by mental illness, and there's nothing to be ashamed of.
Mm-hmm.
But the more I speak about it, the more little patches of my heart get filled up, if that makes sense.
I like that. I love that actually. Little patches of my heart get filled up. Whew. Man, I feel it. I feel the feels right now. I feel the feels.
I feel it
Yeah,
coming.
I feel it coming. Wow, good stuff. All right, number two, uh, do good. And I love this. I love this rule right here of doing good, because this is where you feel at most that you are making a difference. You're being of service to other people, and it is definitely the truest place where you can find happiness, when you make someone else feel good. And they always say, you know, when you're sad, the quickest way to get out of that sadness is to go help someone. Go be of
Mm.
service to someone. Go volunteer. Put a smile on someone's face, and you definitely feel better, you know? And I think doing good is an integral part of everyone's lives. We are a community of people, a oneness of race and humanity. And I think if everyone took the steps to just do something small for other people, man, this world would be such a different place, you know? and we can
Mm.
share that level of companionship and help and service and community for everyone, our kids, the next generation, and of people coming up, and our daughters and sons, everybody. I mean, it's very important to do something, even if it's small. And I feel like, I always try to do something good every single day, you know, whether it's for myself or my family or complete strangers. And the strangest thing, the doing something good for a complete strangers, it's it's a different feeling. I can't explain it. When someone gets taken back, like, oh, he asked about how my day was, and he's genuinely concerned, and they feel really nice, or they feel really better about themselves, and I get this type of the feels. I'm like, oh yeah, that's awesome. You feel it. You feel good when you do good. You feel good. That's the motto, right? When you do good, you feel good. We'll get into the third one round after that. But yeah. So what about you, Titus? What's your take on doing good?
Well, the way I look at it is that we should always be in service to others. I mean, we also need to focus on ourselves, but there always has to be some point in time throughout every person's uh, daily life that they should be in service to other people. Now, whether it's recording a pod and bringing a little bit of sunshine to someone's life, buying a stranger a cup of coffee, we believe in the 10x rule, right? So at the end of the day, doing service to others and even doing good for yourself. Like, look, like take that inner child portion of you, and if you love going to the movies, go to a movie. Sometimes you got to treat yourself, but also you got to treat other people, right? Treat other people well, bring them more happiness. I mean, it's a piece of it where the more we give, the more we get.
That's it.
Living an abundant life, right?
That's it. Definitely. I like that too. The more we give, the more we get. And you can see that happen in, your own reality. It happens in your own reality. I don't know how many stories I've read or heard or seen where, one person helps this one inconspicuous person and does this thing, and then he gets this abundant amount of return times 10 because he just did one simple thing. It's that simple. Being happy is not that hard. And here's 5 rules, and we're down to number 2. And doing good already gives you those tools. It gives you the framework. It gives you all these opportunities to succeed in life, to feel good, to be
Mm-hmm.
happy, to love. Go. I mean, challenge yourself, all that stuff, and it comes from doing good. And you never know if you do good for someone. You never know when that person is gonna come back and return the favor. And most times when they return the favor, it's 10x times that return the favor. And then you're surprised. You're like, what? This is like 10 years ago. Yeah, it's because of you. Dot 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 dot.
Mm-hmm.
You never know how effective you can be just by doing one simple good deed for someone. So I always keep that in mind every time I come in interactions with someone. That's why I'm really like talking or trying to create conversations. Like it's you never know. You never know, right? So yeah. So we're gonna keep it going here. Number 3. I know this one's I think is very. All of it's important, but this one's really good too. Uh, and I want you to start off with this one, Titus, because you already touched on it. But the third one is always forgive.
Bum bum bum
Dun
bum.
dun dun dun.
Oh man, this is a piece that a lot of people struggle with. It's forgiveness, right, Jay?
Yeah,
I mean, especially if people are doing the opposite of this list and harm is done to you, it's really, really hard to forgive. It can be. Um, but what I've learned in the recent months and recent years is that the only way to truly release uh, some of this angst that can be built up inside of us is to forgive. And no matter how difficult that could be, you really need to dig like deep inside of your heart and your soul and truly forgive. Um, I've started writing open letters, which for those of you who do you know what an open letter is, Jay?
Yes, I actually do. Yeah.
Cool. So for those of you who don't know what an open letter is, because I didn't know what an open letter was until a very good friend of mine told me to start doing this. It's essentially you write a public piece that is intended for someone, but you don't publicly call them out. For example, um, I could write an open letter to the person that's been bothering me on Instagram, or I can write an open letter to Starbucks barista. Or you can write an open letter to someone who has truly done something to you that may not have been in positive light. You don't need to publish it. You don't need to put it out there. But the whole point is that if you wanted to, you could, and no one would know who that person is, who that letter is addressed to, essentially, like directly.
Yeah.
Um, it's very cathartic to do that. So if any of you are harboring any ill feelings towards someone because of something that they may or may not have done to you, take this open letter route. Putting your energy into it and like your creative thought and being able to freely speak really brings a lot of peace. And that aids into the forgiveness. I mean, once you get through that space, you can truly, in my opinion, learn to forgive that person.
Man, yeah, it's a incredible tool to have when you feel like he said those angsts and the hatred, and it's hard for you to think about ways to forgive the person that's done you wrong. And I think, like you said, it's very cathartic when you put pen to paper and you really think and put your heart into it and write. There's just something about writing that makes you feel release, makes you feel less stress, and it's sad that we don't really write anymore, because we type. I mean, typing is cool too, but writing is just a different feeling. So like Titus said, if you feel that, that's a very good way to write an open letter, to really have that piece of forgiveness. And I think I've come across a pretty good open letters on the internet. I can specifically remember one where this guy was writing the rules of to a happy marriage, and I don't know if you read this one, but I might post it up on our, if I can find it, on our show notes. But he's writing down all the rules to having, a better marriage, because he got divorced, and
Mm.
there was like 20 some odd, you know rules, and it was powerful. I mean, when I read it, it was amazing. So, um, and I know you can feel it. You can feel it through the words. You can feel it through his phrases. Like every little step that he put in there it hit home, for me in a lot of ways. So, when you do put your heart into it, I'm pretty sure someone out there is gonna feel it too. So, yeah, always forgive. I can agree, man. It's sometimes hard, when someone does you wrong,
Mm.
and you have to, like Titus said, you have to dig deep. I mean, it
Deep.
is, it is, it is to the depths of your soul. Because when you're hurt, that goes deep too, right? So to forgive, you have to go even deeper, and you have to really be aware and have that mindfulness to come out of it in a better place. Because we're so easily offended. We
Hmm.
have the ego to somewhat blame for that. We have conditioning. We have past judgments and stories and upbringing, any whatever it is. You know, we have this baggage of hurt that we carry with us. And unless you forgive, really forgive intentionally, that hurt's always going to be with you. You know, I always tell myself, and, you know, I'm so thankful that I'm more aware now that when something does happen, I have the ability to really step back, you know, out of the situation, re- and really understand, like, if I was to give my energy, my negative energy, which takes up a lot of energy. Negative
Mm-hmm.
energy takes up a lot of energy. If I'm able to take my negative energy, which is a lot of energy, and put it into this situation, what is that gonna do for me in this moment in time, right? And I always follow that rule. If it doesn't matter in 5 years, don't spend 5 seconds. Don't even spend 5 seconds on it. It ain't gonna matter later, right? Nothing's gonna matter later. So why don't you use that energy to do something more positive, or use that energy to just be like, it's all good, bro. You know, it's okay, and just move on, right? Because life is short. Time is short. Time is the most wanted commodity, and you have to do a lot with your time. So why not use that time to be happy, to be doing something that you love doing, instead of having grudges and, you know, wasting your good energy in a negative space, right? Things are gonna change, and you can always change. You can always do something else. So why not just make it easy for yourself and just forgive, and just go. Doesn't mean you have to forget. Just forgive, you know, and then let it go. Go on to the next. So,
Mm.
yeah, number 3, always forgive. You've heard it from Titus and I. It's very important too, and
Huge.
huge. Yeah, it's huge. It's huge for growth. You know, if you wanna grow, it's definitely something that you need to be doing on the daily, because the world is cruel. People are cruel, but you don't really have to let that affect you. You know. All right, man. Cool. Good stuff. Moving on. This is number 4 is just something that you really just don't want to do. And number 4 is harm no one. I mean, why would you want to harm anyone? Right? I mean,
Right.
it is against all of the rules of all religion, not just one, all religions. I mean, it's innate. It's self-explanatory. You know, you know.
Yeah.
But I know sometimes it's hard because, like I said, if someone hurts you intentionally or does something to you, and I'm a recovering uh, person of feeling these feelings, because when you get hurt, you tend to have these anger and frustration feelings, and thoughts then enter your head,
Mm.
like what you want to do to this person, and those thoughts can be ridiculously hateful. I mean, just hateful stuff, you know. Like it's I don't even want to talk about some of the thoughts that I've had in the past, but it could be really, really
We all been there,
incredibly,
man.
yeah, you know.
You
And
want to
I
take a bat and smash the windshield of the car in, right? Like
right,
he's stuck in traffic, like, oh, bro, this guy cut me off.
right, right, exactly. And I'm a recovering anger management person. You know, I used to have a temper. Those of you known me before, you know, I'm not ashamed to say, you know, and handling that anger and temper, it was, you know, tough for me, because when I get into those spots, man, I just like Titus said, I'd be like, I'm gonna kill you right now, and I would really, really kill you right now. You better get out of my face, you know, or something. Like it takes you to this point of irrationality, to where there is no consequence, and that is dangerous. You know,
Mm.
you don't even think straight at that point. And those of you who go there and act upon those thoughts, man, you already know how dangerous that could be. So, in this rule, harm no one, and I love it because it comes right after always forgive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you always forgive, you're never gonna harm anyone. No one, you're not gonna. It's already in sequential order that if you forgive, you shouldn't harm anyone in the first place, right? But if you tend not to go through the whole cycle of forgiveness, and you still feel those feelings of harming someone, just just leave it in your head. Don't act on it, and then
Mm.
go back and then revisit your thoughts and then find another way to deal with it, right?
Yeah, I mean, even verbal and emotional attacks too, right? I mean, those fall into the same category outside of physical harm. And look, we're all guilty of, verbally or emotionally attacking people.
Oh yeah.
And, right?
Oh yeah.
Like, we ain't perfect and nobody is. But it again, it stems from forgiveness. So I feel like if you can go through these steps in this specific order, you won't, verbally attack someone or physically attack someone. Um, but I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, Jay. You just
Yeah.
gotta step back, go go meditate, and
Yeah.
learn how to understand that anger is an emotion that we all feel, and it is emotion that we all have, and it's just something that needs to be controlled and dealt with.
Yep.
And the only way you really can do that is to look inside yourself.
Yep. And if
Spend
someone
ten. Go ahead.
if someone keeps telling you, dude, you have an anger issue or you have a temper, take that into consideration. Let the ego go and take that as a sign and tell yourself, you know what, I think you're right. I gotta go work on that stuff. Because, like I said, I raised my hand. I'm guilty. You know, people have told me that. I'm like, no, what are you talking about? I ain't got no anger issue. Especially in relationships. Oh man,
Mm.
I was the worst. And it's not conducive to be in a relationship to have a temper and anger issue. And I continually work on it every single day because what they say is the hardest thing to do is to be in a relationship because you have to continually work and work and work, but the rewards are awesome and great and phenomenal, all of those up above. All right, so yes, do all those things, and like Titus said, step back if you need to step back. Just don't act. Keep it in your head if you can, or 5 second rule it. If you think you're gonna say something or do something bad, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go hop in the ocean. Go cool off, take a cold shower, or do something. To just relieve that anxiety or that negative emotion of anger. You know. Cool, that was great. The last but not the least, my favorite. Anything with this word is my favorite already. But number 5 is be positive. And you know, positive psychology is, I think, underrated at this point. That's just my personal opinion. I believe there's a shift in mindset and psychology about learning how positive psychology can really affect and maintain a certain status of being happy in life. We always, not we will, mainstream always focuses on how to get out of the unhappy parts. But what do you do after you get out of that unhappy part? How are you going to maintain the happiness? How are you going to maintain feeling good all the time? And I think being positive, thinking positive, doing positive things, you can maintain that kind of ecstasy of that feeling, right? Because, and I think for me, I'm kind of, I don't know, I kind of have a cheat code because I think I was wired to be positive all the time.
Cheat code.
Like,
So it's like up, up, down, down,
yeah,
left, right, PA, select, start.
yeah. I don't know if it's based on all the things that I've gone through or my upbringing. My parents. There's a lot of things that can attribute to me always being positive, but I've always been known to, just be positive, and it doesn't come hard to me. And I see that as one of my superpowers. And it took me a while to even really understand that. You know, I remember a couple of our homies, that we both know, like they would just tell me that all the time. But it really didn't resonate with me until I started going through this transformation of myself and knowing and learning about me and what I can affect people and what my gifts were and knowing my purpose and all that stuff. So it all came together. And now it's like, when I do see something in a negative light or someone needs help and I'm just there with, fucking chest out, like, it's all good, bro. We got this. You could do it, man. I'm here for you. Let's tackle this thing. And then in the end, in hindsight, I'm like, yeah, I'm here to help you out because I'm the positive person you need right now, and I know that's my role. I'm here to do that, and let's fucking do it now. So be positive, always be positive, because it's just easier. To me, it's easier. Not to most people, but to most people, being negative is easy. But if being negative is easy, positive is also easy too. You just need to change the way you think about it, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
It's a mindset shift, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So be
Do you
positive.
feel like your Buddhist practice ties into that, or it's more like you were just naturally, because you're naturally gifted with this. So do you feel like one, the mindfulness piece and meditating and diving into yourself on top of your religious practice, like has that aided in you harnessing and focusing this power of positivity?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, I think so. It has a really concrete um, evidence of why I'm like that. I mean, it stems from that. My dad and my mom raising me to always think for myself, always be self-reliant, always think positive. The teachings of Buddha. My dad was devout, as people, as if you listen to this podcast, and I would never see him stress. He was never a stressing guy. He
Mm.
always figured it out. And my mom is a carefree soul. She's always smiling, always happy. It's rare that I see her, worry about anything. So I think it attributes to all that. Plus, the philosophies of Buddha and being content and having that solemn place where it's everything's impermanence. Like even the negative stuff isn't going to stay, so why use your energy on putting into that negative space? Why not make it so that it's a positive light? And there's always a silver lining in every situation, right? I mean, it's
Mm-hmm.
everything you look at back in hindsight, if you're aware and if you tell yourself that you need to be aware, you'll see the silver lining. All bad things happen for a reason. Things happen for a reason. You're supposed to either learn something, feel something, experience something, which is going to make you a better person. Like, this too shall pass and you shall be a better person.
Mm.
So, with that in mind, why not just be positive? We're human, dude. We're resilient beings with an awesome tool in your head that we can affect and get through any type of situation.
Right. Wow, man. I mean, yeah, it's been your gift this whole time, and to see the perpetual growth and like the removing of the your ego and understanding that um this really is your gift and you can share it with now more people. I
Yeah.
mean, this podcast allows you to scale it up, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's why the positivity is in the 3 P's. I mean,
Hmm.
I think it's very important, and thanks for touching up on that. That's one of my purposes in life. Like I said, when I realized that I do want to affect as much people as I can, because the world's crazy out there, and we need more positive stuff. We don't focus on it as much. It's always on the negative stuff, we need to be more aware, and it needs to be like up front, right in front of our eyes, like the positive stuff that's happening, because it'll just make a world a better place, man. And that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to just make a world a better place. It all starts with you. It starts micro, environments of where you are. Because if you're positive, and if you don't harm anyone, and if you're always forgiving and doing good and loving yourself, I mean, everyone else around you is going to feel that. And it's going to like ripple effect out, right? We've seen it. We've seen it with people who've done it, in a larger scale, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, we're doing it ourselves, and we see it in each other, It's Titus too, I've seen him grow exponentially, and it's amazing. It's an amazing, privilege to witness someone go through that, and for you to go through that yourself, you should, pat yourself on the back too if you're going through it. So good on you for that. So yeah, that's the 5 rules to live a happier life. Let me repeat that one more time. Number 1, love yourself. Number 2, do good. Number 3, always forgive. Number 4, harm no one. And number 5, be positive. And we'll put that in the show notes. Titus, you have any departing words of wisdom to wrap this up?
Take 15 minutes a day to connect with yourself. And I know that sounds really woo-woo and kind of out there, but the creator or the universe or whoever's given us 24 hours a day to live every day, like, take 15 minutes. If you can just section that off. And I know we all live busy lives. We got kids, got all this, got jobs, got whatever. But really invest 15 minutes a day into clarity, positivity, writing. It's something that we at least owe ourselves to get connected, if that makes any sense at all.
Yeah, I would totally agree. Taking time for yourself, 15 minutes a day, just do something. Do something for yourself, And then, let's make that a homework. Let's make that something, an actionable step from this episode. So if you're listening out there, no shamers, tomorrow or today, right now, take 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes to do something for yourself. And don't give yourself any excuse why you're not going to do it. Don't tell yourself, oh, I'm too busy, I got to do this. Take all that chatter out of your head. Stop. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Take 15 minutes to do whatever you need to do. Go run, go write, sing, dance, go for a swim, whatever it is. Feel good about yourself. Read some affirmations or whatever it is. Listen to your favorite song that you haven't listened to in a long time. And just go out there and do it. All right. So thanks again, you guys, for tuning in, and we really appreciate it. We're going to continue to give you some valuable content. Let us know what you think about our podcast, our revamped podcast. And if you have anything that you want us to talk about, feel free to, contact us via social media, all the social handles. We got it. And like I said, stay positive, have purpose, fire, light that passion inside you, and we will talk to you soon.
Love yourselves.
Yes. Aloha. Hey, thanks for tuning in to this episode of the No Shame Podcast. We really appreciate you for doing that. Please like, subscribe, and follow all of our social media handles, and rate us on iTunes. It would really help us a lot. And we promise to keep bringing you valuable content. Thanks again, and aloha.